Sports fans, sports lovers, welcome back to another episode of Global Sports from a Caribbean Perspective. I am your host, Bongo Prime. I got with me,
Shabba.
and
Dops.
are we here to bring you the best takes, the best news, the best leagues, the best players, the best sports, all here from a Caribbean perspective. And speaking about the Caribbean, we're staying right home here today. Big up the homeland, same as Nine Grenadines, because we got the VSPL action for you. And boy, oh boy, with another match week number 4, we got a better action, a better separation at the top as well. We the league table looking certainly very, very interesting early on. We got some drama in some of the games to talk about. 5 matches this weekend, 9 goals in total. Some teams looking formidable, unbeaten runs. Some teams looking shaky to say the least. Um, Lots of action, man. What do you guys think? Like overall, first 4 games, 4 match weeks so far, just generally before we get into what's been happening.
I think it was all in all great viewing. Some if you're watching from a live stream, a few more camera angles, of course, would be better. But all in all, I think we've come a long way where that is concerned. The product, we've seen some really spectacular goals, some brilliant goals. Quality has been indeed on show. And I think, yeah, it's been a good 4 weeks so far, yeah, man.
Good showing.
Much of the same, not much to add. It's been a great start to the VSPL this season and long may it continue.
All right, we're jumping straight into the action. If you haven't been following, plenty action this weekend. First game up, Avenues versus Jebelle. Another solid performance from Jebelle. 1-0 victory. Professional, calm, cool, collected. What you say, Shabba?
Yeah, another I'd say well worked and well deserved win for Jebel. I mentioned off camera just before we started that they are the best coach team that I'd say. They look very organized, very much aware of what they're supposed to do in each game. Each player knows their role to a T. No, no egos killing the team and that kind of thing. So they work well from the back, the midfield with Sawyers and the likes, and up front with Java. So I'd say that they are one of the most underrated teams thus far this season, despite them not being up top like System 3 and flying, but they're very, very well organized and another comfortable win for them. But as for Avenues, another game where they barely threatened the opposing keeper. Not sure where the goals are gonna come from. It's not a case where their defense is horrible. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like they're without hope. But going forward, they lack creativity, they lack speed, they lack firepower. Damal Francis almost at the age of 40, if not over 40 already, still being their best player is not good.
Masterful.
Still being the best player is credit to him and his quality and his longevity. But it doesn't say much about the rest of the team that he has to be the one to be the creative genius and still having to finish chances as well. So it's a grim look for Avenues, but very, very good outlook for Jebel.
What about the penalty shot in the second?
Yeah, I'd say that there was a clear penalty that should have been called for Avenues, and it goes back to the inconsistencies that we have been speaking about of the refereeing thus far this season again. We're not here to necessarily blame referees or put them under any kind of microscope because in the moment the decision is a snap.
Yeah,
And it's
sportive.
it's difficult to do when you don't have technology either to help you. But on force looking, it looked like a penalty, and then when we watched the replay as well on the stream, it was even clearer.
Dopy Benjamin connection for Jebel's decisive moment in this game. Delano Benjamin driving down the left, beat his man, nice cross, nice square, and Ashano Benjamin, tapping it home. Would you say that Jebel would you agree with Shabba in saying that Jebel are one of the best performing teams in the VSPL so far?
Yeah, I would agree. To the extent where they are organized and they build up nicely, and it's not in only one way. They're very dynamic, whether it's a long through pass or through crosses or just a moment of brilliance from said Benjamin, Dylan and Benjamin earlier. Yeah, there are just many ways, but I believe that they could be a bit more decisive. I feel like in this game against Avenues, they could have really killed the game off. They had a few chances, especially in the late half. There was a ball that was squared across that you think, a better, more accurate pass, and it's a 2-0. And it's not to say they aren't doing well in the table, but in a league where you see system 3 is blowing everyone out of the water and extending that goal difference at the top, you would like to come out of the negative because they are still in a negative in goal difference. So I would just add that to what I think about Jebelle, apart from the brilliant players. So they just need to be a bit more decisive and clinical.
Okay.
Avenues now. Credit to them. It was a gritty performance.
Kwashi at the back.
Kwashi at the back was a standout performer in my opinion. He really led the line. And as I said, they could have conceded more, and I think this was just a better all-round performance from the defense and from I think it's Dakari Hector in the goal. It was a much better performance. And last game, I kind of rain on the Pirate a bit too much. I rub salt in the wounds, and I think I should give them a little bit more credit. So if there is a positive, there's the defense. But as Shabba said earlier, the attack needs something.
Credit to you for fighting.
Referee, Shabba, I can't hold back. Them man get robbed. They get robbed, bro.
Avenues.
100%.
Avenues.
100%. I get 3-4 looks at it. It ain't my body. First one I get. He right there, bro. He right there, bro. That was hot.
Watching it live, I was in the park and it wasn't too far away. And at first, everybody around us said, "Pen ref,"
I know we are lumberjacks down here.
Yeah. It was a clear penalty. It was a clear penalty. So Avenues robbed.
So as much as Jebelle got the 3 points, and I think it was a fair result for them. So I think Avenues was robbed at the same time.
All right. Well, credit to you for finding that positive. Let's hope that Avenues themselves can find some positives moving forward in the VSPL. On to the next match. This was a big clash. It was first and second from last year's edition of the Premiership. Hope International 1, not Leeward Predators 2. Champions have responded. Wow.
Yeah, very impressive performance, I'd say. Probably their best performance of the season thus far because they went down 1-0 when Simmons, after the Predators goalkeeper made a mistake.
Yeah, a mistake at the back.
Played it out to Valo. Valo squared it across to Thompson. Then Thompson found it with to Simmons, who found the net. After that, it seemed to have some increments of offside as well in it.
But we only get one angle too, so
yeah. With the absence of the technology, like we said, we have to give credit where it's due to the sporting moment decisions and so forth.
Yeah. But on Predators showed some fight here. They really showed that
powerful
they're not
character.
They're not here to lay down. They're not gonna just go out without a fight and let their title go, to system 3 basically for free, right? So they stepped up. I was really impressed with the performance, especially in the second half. And DL again was there, doing everything, not just from the penalty spot when he converted, but in midfield, fighting, winning all the duels,
running on the line,
healing the defense, clearing balls, reaching up in the front, and still creating chances and shooting. So
covering
he has about 3 lungs. He's like Fede Valverde basically in that aspect. He's up and he's down, and he's there at this spot again to convert for them after missing his penalty in the last game. And then the other goal was scored by Mr. Solomon as well, Alroy Solomon, from across that came in, and the keeper was left in no man's land. Keeper was in no man's land, and he just tapped in at the back post. So Predators showed real resilience. Hope, on the other hand, again, caught a bit, in between, not knowing if to go on after taking the lead and trying to get another and then another, or whether to sit back and hold that 1-0 cushion. And it seemed to affect the way that they were approaching the rest of the game. Maybe they thought the one was enough, but obviously Predators would not lie down quietly, and it's almost as though hope not were there for the taking, right? And taken they were from that Leeward. So they have a lot to work on. They haven't started the season well, and I'd say that they're the most underperforming team thus
So
far
far.
this season for sure.
A bit of the shadows of last season's final stretch performance in particular from Hope there, Dopy. I mean, they led in the game, but Predators were able to just, well, basically overpower them.
Yeah,
You feel it slipping away again?
yeah, I think so. It's huge respect to and shout out to the Predators because Hope you could have seen the game plan from the start. Home deployed a very aggressive press, and Predators decide, okay, yeah, we go and play out to the back, and of course they got punished for it. Even then, you think you thought they would change it up a bit and try to
Go long.
kick it long, or just try to get it out there a little quicker. But no, they stuck to their ways. They were persistent and they tried to play through Hope's press. And many occasions they cut through them quite easily, whether it was a long ball from the midfield over the top, or just a few passes. As Shab said, the Hope are there for the taking. Predators could have easily gone in front all in the movie, and then in the second half it was all not Leeward Predators. For large portions of the game, it was played in Hope's half, and Hope was defending. I think the pressure of just being there and just defending constantly caused the penalty. Even though I thought it was quite soft,
A little soft.
the guy was on
And
the ground
he
already.
was on his way down, but the defender swung, very widely, I'd say. Very widely.
Lumberjackish.
So credit to them for just being resilient, as you said, and
Holding out.
persistent and aggressive, and holding the game by the scruff of the neck and coming back at a 2-1 victory.
Yeah, they're still missing some dynamism in attack. You could see that. Their goals came from basically set pieces, a penalty, and a corner. So they're not really, incisive enough in open play. Maybe that might be the downfall in terms of retaining the title, but we know they're not lacking for any kind of spirit.
For sure. Right. Well, moving on to a game that featured goals, it featured a bit of controversy, it featured some late drama. Camdonia Chelsea 2, System 3 FC 3. System 3 getting the result, flying at the top of the table, and wasted no time in this game. They scored inside the first minute. Karim Davis, excellent work from Azino Solomon, continues to be, one of the league's standout players and performers thus far. He then turned provider again with another assist. He set up Carlos Solomon this time, his third goal of the season. But that one looked a bit.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it. But that one looked a little offside, and looking at the replay. As then capped the performance by converting from the spot after had been fouled himself, seemingly putting the game beyond doubt at that point. But we'll have to say that Camdonia showed real fight in this game to nudge 2 goals back. I mean, one came coming a little bit later on. Sorry. Nigel Charles rose highest to head home from a corner that was deep. That was before the second goal deep into stoppage time. Warren produced a brilliant free kick to make it 3-2. But a little bit too late. But credit to Camdonia for finding in it and putting on a good showing in the end. System 3 remain top. Camdonia remain winless, but signs of life for sure, Shabba.
For sure. On the preview show last week, on this episode last week, me and Dopy mentioned in the preview for this game, I should say, we spoke, and he mentioned that I mentioned that I think that Camdonia would score in this game. And Dopy disagreed because he didn't see where the goals were gonna come from. Right? Again, also 2 set piece goals from a corner and goal from a free kick. But I think the keeper should have done a bit better with the free kick from Warren. But credit to Chelsea. They showed real endeavor in that 3:30 heat, because, and I have something to say on those games, boy, because the conditions definitely are taking a toll on the quality that is
Especially
able
in
to
the
be put
dry
out there.
season.
It's 3:30, extreme hot sun.
And we don't even take that little
We
recess.
don't even take the little hydration
Hydration
break at the 22nd minute and in the 70 something minute. So that's something that needs to be looked at, bro.
And
Because
the dust.
come on, it's
Remember, it's dry season right now. So
the conditions are crazy out there at 3:30 when you have to send those big men out there to play. But back to the game, and I'd say that Chelsea showed real resilience. It's something that I mentioned so far about System 3 for all of their glory and their goals. They've conceded at least 2 goals in each game so far. So they've conceded 2, 3, 2, and 2 again. So I guess if this is their strategy to go about winning the league, they are doing a very good job.
Barca like.
They're doing a very good job of it so far in terms of outscoring their opponents. But there would come another game like when they play Jebelle and another team scores as much as they do because their defense isn't as watertight as it should be. But going forward is everything that we expected and anticipated of them coming into the season, really and truly. Salaman, 2 assists and a goal, even though the second one, like I said it, like Prime said it, to me it seemed offside. When the ball was played across, Zeno looked as though he was in front of the last defender. But again, there's only one angle, and it's so difficult to tell in real time. You can't even blame the officials. But on the replay, it definitely looks offside, in my opinion. Right? But what else can we say? Another 3 points, another goal for Solomon remains top of the goal and boot chart.
Yeah, we'll look
Right?
at that team.
And another goal for Carlos Solomon as well. So that's 3 and 2 for him now. He's catching up. So another day, another 3 points for system.
Yeah, I don't feel it was as straightforward as we thought it would be. To be very fair to Chelsea, on the day I think they were the better team playing football.
Yeah, team.
The commentators did say that.
Looking at system 3, they didn't string the passes together like they usually would, and they just lack the cohesiveness that they normally would display. Of course, you would get the goals from them because it's
Individual
quality
brilliance,
players,
yeah.
and of course they are more clinical. But yeah, I just wanted to give a huge shout out. I'm happy that they got the goals too, because of course, if it had gone 3-0, nobody would probably
Give credit to the
notice.
performance.
Yeah.
So yeah, happy that they got the 2 goals. Big up Nigel Charles. He seemed more willing than anybody else to try to get his name on the score sheet, and he did it the in typical centre back fashion with a header, with a
Great.
really good header as well.
A great header.
And a shout out to the number 10. I think his name is Luke.
Luke.
Maybe. Shout out to him. He seems like the greatest threat in the attack, and I just hope that they could really put something together and get some goals from those players.
As it was, yeah, because as it stands, system 3 at the top, but Camdonia
Yeah.
struggling a bit.
Just wanna reiterate that shout out on Chelsea because it's really easy to just, lay down after you done gone down 3-0 and after the start that you've had to the season. It's really easy to just let your morale down and be like,
this
poor
game
we,
is lost.
poor we, and
Yeah.
and especially in the hot sun where much people in reach park yet even, and so really shout out to them and the resilience still to fight and to score 2 goals and make it at least a respectable score.
Maybe a little sooner on the challenge because the defense by the end of the game for System 3 was looking
Exactly.
to
So
concede.
hopefully they could use this as a springboard in their next games coming up.
Moving on to a game that defined the weekend, to be very honest. Bequia United 0, BESCO Pastures 2. Results aside, this was probably the most important match of the weekend. For football related reasons and not. In terms of the game, BESCO were composed, they were clinical, scoring their 2 goals, Orlando Campbell and the Nelson Lewis, both capitalizing on, a bit of hesitation, especially on the second goal from the Bequia keeper and the defense. That makes it 3 straight wins and 3 straight clean sheets for BESCO Pastures, and that is quite remarkable consistency considering that they lost their opening game.
7.
Yeah, 7 goals to 2. But result aside, as we said, the match was overshadowed. There was a frightening incident involving the Bequia goalkeeper Stu. He collided with Kendall Borg and he laid motionless on the pitch for an extended period of time, a head injury. There was no ambulance present. A private vehicle was eventually used to transport him off the field and get him to the hospital to seek some immediate emergency medical attention. A report suggesting that he might have suffered a fractured skull. There's a lot of questions to ask, in terms of we trying to move towards a semi-professional organization, but outside of the bureaucracy of it, the safety of the players, the medical protocols, the preparedness, and the things in place. Like the results matter, and we will be willing to talk about the results as much as possible and sharing the league and trying to promote it. But the welfare and well-being of the players has to be put first, and this is a conversation we can't avoid. So credit to BESCO and the good performance, but I really want to talk about that particular incident. Dopy, should we be having these matches? And it's good to have the live coverage. I appreciate it in particular because sometimes I can't make it to the matches, but the medical coverage.
I mean, it's a must. I believe sure it was in some sort of regulation that each team at least should have some sort of certified medical
Physio,
staff on hand,
stuff.
and the organizer should at least have
An independent something.
correct on standby stretcher and so forth. Even if an ambulance is not there, at least someone.
At least some kind of EMT.
So I feel this is where they let the ball drop there, and this is something that you can't wait until something like this happens.
Head
Say
injuries
that
are
too.
one of the most terrifying incidents to deal with in football. I mean, it's unfortunate there's no blame involved because this is the nature of the sport. It's a contact sport. That is exactly why the protocols
Should
need to be in place. And then we have to ask a question, in a situation like this, had it been, God forbid,
Fatal.
worse, who bears responsibility in a situation like that? I mean, we need to safeguard not just we talk about the player welfare, but I mean, we need to safeguard the league and the venue and
This is definitely
all of these.
this
There's a lot of
definitely-
questions.
This definitely lies with the league, bro, because as you stated, match day preparedness, player safety and medical protocols all should come under the league's infrastructure and their planning of this entire tournament, right? Considering the vicinity, how close the park is to the hospital as well, and no medical vehicle from that standpoint could have gotten there, and as a private vehicle had to speed on the field to get the goalkeeper over to get some medical attention. That is a shame because that was also shown on the live and broadcasted around the world. How would that look to see a private vehicle with someone who is clearly a civilian, not a medical personnel, driving onto the field of play and getting the player off who was there laying motionless for about 10-15
And
minutes?
credit to the civilian as well for responding.
Yeah, that was actually
force
Michael, the same Kwashy guy who plays for Avenues. That was actually the same guy who drove onto the field with his vehicle. So shout out to Kwashy for being a hero there, but it shouldn't be left to him. That shouldn't be his responsibility as not being part of the organization and the league. So
because
it's not a good look.
we see a lot of, we understand the context. We understand the context. We know where we are and the levels that we're dealing with, right? But just to compare it a bit to what we see on the European stage, right, in terms of international football, head injuries in particular have their own separate protocol. You get me? And in a situation like that, these are often time sensitive
Yep.
injuries when you have collisions like that. And I am speaking from a perspective having experienced a head-to-head collision, albeit in amateur football, but I myself was rendered unconscious from a head-to-head collision. Remember me and Trent, and both of us had to be rushed to the hospital to seek that type of attention. And in a situation like that, it's showing, and it's telling us a lot. So what we need to do right now is, thanks to the first responders, we express our concern, of course, to the goalkeeper Stowe, wishing you the best in terms of your recovery. We also extend, shout out to Kendall Borg, involved in the situation as well. We don't know if he might be affected by it or not, or to what extent, but just giving those two players that support and those two teams that support as well. But it's a moment. We need to take it as a learning experience, and it might be a learning curve in terms of getting certain things right. So let's do the learning and do it fast to prevent anything worse than what it was.
Yeah, because bro, if you have somebody like a parent who's watching this game, right? How you can encourage now that parent to tell their child to send them training tomorrow when they see something like that happen? Especially if, let's say, their child is a goalkeeper. How are you going, or a parent sitting watching that, seeing that the keeper there on the ground for how much long, no big set of medical attention coming, no ambulance, nothing, speeding, nothing, and then they just did it out cool. Or you can now encourage your child for, okay, I'm training tomorrow, or come back safe. Your check is a domino effect. It's not just in the moment there that has a long line of effects that
A lot of
you check,
implications.
it might make somebody not want to play football again. Something simple as that. Somebody with great talent who might be the future of Vincent on football might watch that incident last night and see how it was handled and say, boy, no, football is not for me again. So we are think about how things look, bro.
Yeah, man, and we are appealing, if we could get that the medical community to come on board and see things. I remember my experiences even in university in UE, we had UE South. That's our on-campus emergency services, and at any sport meet or athletics, or even if we have in heats or just even cheerleading and these are activities. Let me don't say even cheerleading because that's athletics as well. But there's always some sort of at least something in place. So we definitely like to see that.
Before you go on to the next game,
Mhm.
we didn't speak about the game, and I have to give a shout out to BESCO because
In terms of the gameplay.
because they came out against System 3 in the first game, got demolished, right? But ever since then, I don't know what adjustments Tosti has made, but they have been
It's going
working.
good.
They have been working to a T. They're now second in the table and playing, I wouldn't say, let's say, above what we expected, but because it's only 4 games into the season and the table isn't final. But where they are currently, nobody would expect BESCO to be the second place team, especially after match day one. So shout out to Tosti, Marlon James, the coach, and Augustus Adams in the back, who has been holding it down superbly.
They men putting the bodies on the line, the keeper as well. Because it's not to say chances aren't coming their way in terms of and in a defensive perspective. Chances are they have to face chances, but these guys are putting the bodies on the line. Sometimes you see the keeper, little scramble trying to, make sure you get the ball out of there. So their heart is in it. They're wearing it on their sleeve, and credit to them. They seem like they are working for one another.
And they have goals throughout the team. They have Denelson Lewis now has scored in back-to-back games. Orlando Campbell, who scored the first goal, he also scored, I think, in the second game. So he also has 2 goals.
I'm gonna be honest, even in the moment right before the incident, I thought Kendall was gonna score.
I thought so as well. I would like it was a great opportunity for him to add to his tally. So they have goals throughout the team and attacking intent, sneaky good team. And Bequia, because we didn't say anything about Bequia, it was a underwhelming performance from them, to be very honest.
Compared to
First goal, I could see how that could demoralize them a bit because it was just a long ball floated over the top. Keeper came, hesitated, went back, and then the striker came out and just tapped it over him. So they never really had much patterns of play to threaten BESCO in terms of great one-on-one opportunities or anything like that. So they're gonna have to step it up and show goals are gonna come from aside from Mark Brown and Snag on the right side.
All right. Moving on to the final game of the match week. Awesome FC 1, Layou FC 1. 1 goal apiece, 1 point apiece. Tense match, tactical match, tight match. Layou struck force. That was Gidse Francis just before halftime. A little scramble in the box. Put it home. And then Awesome responded in the second half. Chad Straw, his direct free kick. I don't know, it caught the Layou keeper off guard. He seemed to have it under control and then he seemed not to. Neither side looked truly dominant in that period after limited chances, broken up, inconsistent patterns of play. Both teams seemed rather content with sharing the points rather than losing a point. Awesome, still unbeaten to their credit. They continue to boast the league's best defensive record, conceding the fewest 3 goals conceded in 4 matches. Layou are also unbeaten, but third in the table. That draw still keeps them in the title conversation, however.
Yeah, it's much of the same in terms of Leo and their inconsistencies. I'd say they have high highs and some, I'd say, very mids. I wouldn't say they have low lows because they haven't lost a game so far this season,
Unbeaten.
and they still have very good levels that they could get to. So I wouldn't say that Leo have had any low lows. What's got very high highs and mids, and this was one of the mid games where Awesome, as you mentioned, have the best defensive record in the league, so they are gonna be a tough team to break down, and it was no different last night. So they were also without Velox again for I think the third consecutive game. So the attacking onus was left on Ledger Wood and Kobe Mingno. So and they were unable to break through. A very stubborn Awesome who played very well. I actually
Tight.
thought they played
Tight in
the
defense.
better football over Layou in terms of building, and Chad Straw again, shout out to him.
Serious left foot.
Awesome's leader, one would have to say. A good free kick. I wouldn't say a great free kick. It was almost at the corner flag, and he swung it in, in swinging. So
A little bit of the win.
you could say so. I
Yeah.
guess you can say so. Maybe the keeper misjudged the flight, but that's something that keeper should be dealing with, tipping over or punching.
Yeah, I think he went in the.
It seemed he tried to catch it.
Yeah, it seems like he tried to catch it when punching or tipping
Yeah.
over would have been a bit better. So shout out to Chad Strado.
Putting it in the danger.
That's his second free kick of the season, and you can't score them unless you shoot. So like you said, both teams would take a point. Even though you have dropped from second to third, they're not that far away from system 3. So they just have to finish off games better, I'd say.
Yeah, I just think it was a really cagey match, really and truly tactical battle. No team could really stamp their authority on it. It's a bit more
One of those.
what Shabba said. So it's
One of those.
So before we move on again, I just want to say shout out to Awesome for this reason. Awesome came up as like another team into Premier Division, and they don't have much like star players on their team, players who play for the national and this big set of big name stars.
Zeddy.
Apart from like Zeddy Millington, Saquon Millington, who is someone who would be around Vincent and football. And they are well coached by, Mr. Gavin Thomas,
Big up, Gavin.
right? And they work hard for each other, and Chad is making a name for himself. So maybe after this season, we'll have to stop saying that they don't have a star player, because Chad is proving to be
Number 11 as well, because
Aaron Williams, yes.
he seemed to be like a real force.
Yeah.
Like it's real hard to deal with him. So it's the Layou defenders especially had a real hard time. He was just dragging them about.
That is something that we noticed watching the game in person. The size of the Awesome players compared to the Layou players, they seem more physically, imposing. So Chad on the right side with Williams on the left side is a serious wing partnership that Awesome has there. So shout out to them. Very well coached team. No superstar hype. Everybody working for each other, and with that kind of spirit, they'll definitely stay in the Premier Division and continue to be hard to beat.
All right. Well, there you have it. Those are the games from match week 4. So let's take a look at the VSPL 2026 league table after 4 games played. At the top, System 3 flying high. We got them on 10 total points so far. 3 wins, 1 draw. 21 goals scored plus 12 goal difference.
Not much to add.
Not much to add. Looking very impressive. Right behind them is BESCO Pastures on 9 points. Also, to their credit, currently on a 3-game winning streak. In third position, as we spoke about just recently, Layou FC on 8 points, and to their credit, they are unbeaten. So we have an interesting top three, 10, 9, 8, right there with each other going. In the chasing pack, we have defending champions Leeward Predators on 7 points, followed by Jebelle also on 7 points. Awesome down there on 6 points. And in the lower half of the league table, right now we have 4 teams. We have Hope and Bequia, 4 and 2 points respectively. Avenues and Camdonia Chelsea are in the relegation zone. Avenues on 1 point. Camdonia Chelsea yet to score a point in terms of the tally. What going on? What you say? What you say, Dubs? What are your thoughts on the top three? And I'm gonna get your thoughts, Shabba, on the bottom half.
Yeah, as Shab mentioned earlier, BESCO really surprising, especially after getting thrashed in the first game to be second behind the team that beat you is something to praise. Them being ahead of Layou, Jebelles, who are, former champion Jebelles. So it's not that what we expected. But credit to them for being basically underdogs and jumping to new heights.
All right. We've kind of gone through in terms of system three and layout. I want your thoughts on the lower half of the league, Shabba.
Well, to be fair, coming into the season, when we had our league preview, we spoke about Avenues will struggle this season. We said that Avenues will struggle this season based on the turmoil that's going on in terms of their squad and the lack of quality in it, basically, right? So it's no surprise to see them down there in the relegation zone alongside Chelsea. Chelsea, though, last season they finished in the top four.
Yeah.
So it's kind of surprising to see them, without a win so far and only scoring their first 2 goals in their fourth match. So also Bequia being there as well is somewhat of a shocker considering the start of the season they even drew with the defending champions on open day. So it's somewhat of a surprise to see them down in the stellar position with those other two teams.
To win a game.
Right? So it's clear, I'd say, that these are the 3 teams that will be battling for relegation throughout the season. Hope right there on 4 points, only 2 points above Bequia. It's kind of surprising to see them in such a low position.
1 win, 1 draw, 2 losses.
Right? So 2 losses in their last 2 games as well. So it's something that they're definitely gonna have to look and improve. And I know Coach Farrell and the likes over there will definitely be, working something in the pot because they have a very good squad, a very quality squad of players who made the national team and are synonymous with good football in St. Vincent over the past few years. So I'd expect Hope to climb up the table eventually.
All right. Just a quick show. Awesome still unbeaten. You think they can make a assault to climb a bit higher than sixth?
Hard to tell. Hard to tell. When games against the likes of System 3 and Layou, well, they just played Layou and competed very well, played better than them. So when games like those come around and they show their level, those would be the only indicators to know whether or not they'd be able to challenge seriously for any kind of title, right? And they'd have to obviously beat the teams that are below them in it to climb up. But I don't think they'd be a title contender necessarily.
All right. I want to talk goals. Let's talk most goals. Let's talk golden boot. Let me start down and go up, right? So on 3 goals, currently we have Java, Odein, Kareem Williams, Kobe Migno, Corey Durant Barber, and Carlos Solomon. On 4 goals, we have Mr. Spring from the Predators, 4 goals. And if you add 1 to that, and then you score a brace, and you score another goal, you go reach Mr. Solomon. he depend 8 goals and he depend real thing because no, remember now the man tell we he a boot but he name most goal
We have it on film.
and he backing him out so far.
Yeah.
So but with multi-goal games from a lot of players and so forth, the lower half of the table in terms of players who are on 3 and 2 goals is quite extensive, and with a lot of games to play, he's certainly going to have some challengers coming, but the gap is growing. He's certainly setting the pace so far. Let's talk some awards. We hand out some trophy to the player of the week and the team of the week. Player of the week.
Augustus Adams, as I mentioned, BESCO Pastures, number 7. He plays in as a centre back. So that's something I don't really like Gussie. Because he's a defender, bro, and you wear number 7. Leave that for the foul, man. But shout out to me, bro. Player of the week, for sure, bro. You leading by example. Ever since that last against
3 straight clean
3 wins, 3 clean sheets, putting your body on the line as Dopy mentioned,
leadership.
building up from the back as well with your quality on the ball, bro. And you're leading by example. If the national team ain't looking at your performances, I don't know what the purpose of the Premier League is, because you are definitely one of the standout defenders in the league so far. And if I would go as far as to say, if there's a team at the tournament so far, you are in it, and as one of the centre backs. So shout out to Gussie.
All right, that's team of the week.
3 wins on the bongs, 3 clean sheets on the bongs, right into the title race. BESCO, let's go.
Yeah.
Team of the
You gotta give it to them. Good performance.
Yeah.
Let's look ahead to match week number 5. Layou versus BESCO.
Tough. Tough.
Remember Layou unbeaten, right? And they're the third. Just 8 points right behind BESCO.
So
So BESCO depend, like we say, hot streak. Right. So
was a tough game.
unbeaten momentum, defensive steal.
That's a
It's
tough
second versus third, so the top 3 might get shake up. Somebody might jump in because it are teams on 7 points.
Right.
Teams like Jebelle.
So despite Layou being ahead of despite BESCO being ahead of Layou in the table, I'd say that Layou are still favorites in that game, right? So if I were to make a prediction, I'd say that Layou will come out victorious. Just by their firepower, I'd say 3-1. Layou.
You agree with that, Dopy?
No, I don't agree. I actually feel this one with me another tight one actually. BESCO already showing us who they are in the last 3 games, and you have more structure and a little bit more tactical than most of the other teams. I think it would be, an even clash, and I could see it being a stalemate.
Stalemate.
Yeah. I will go for that result as well.
Draw.
Yeah, Layou maintaining the unbeaten, but BESCO also not losing. System 3 versus Bequia. I don't know. I feel like this game play already for some reason. System 3 versus Bequia. I know why I feel that way. These are the 2 teams that were recently promoted to the Premiership. Bequia coming up against the most dangerous attack in the league, most goals. You think they're going to swat them away like how they've been doing to some teams? Or Bequia is much more formidable category for them on defensive steel.
I think it's gonna be a tough one for Bequia. Maybe they would be able to score a goal, but I think it would be a comfortable win. Might be another, one of those late goals that comes in for Bequia. But I feel like it might be an easy 4-1 victory for System 3.
System. Shall we finish it?
I have to agree in terms of the eventual result, but the pathway to it is what I would disagree with, because I've seen enough to know that System 3 will allow you a chance or 2 or 3. And I think with Mark and Snag and the likes, they could eventually create some sort of opening or 2 or 3, like I said, and make the game interesting at least. But I see System 3 coming through, winning for sure. The last time they met in the promotion playoff game, it finished 4-2 to System 3, and I could see a similar scoreline.
Well, the final minutes of the game versus Camdonia proved that System 3's defense is open.
To say the least, especially without Sutherland at the back.
So We'll see. Next match, Jebelle versus Hope. Uh, Hope needs to get some points on the board. Jebelle looking very disciplined so far. Not willing to give their 3 points away that easily. What do you think, Shabba?
It's another tough game because I know Hope coming into the game, 2 game losing streak, they wouldn't want to, go three, right? And Jebel, like I mentioned, have been the most consistent team I'd say thus far in terms of the style of play and how organized they look. So it's gonna be an interesting clash. I think that Jebel will come out victorious by a close margin. I'd say 2 goals to 1.
Oops.
Yeah, as much as I don't want to for the sake of the show, I'll go agree with Shab. Simply because what I've seen, especially in the last game from Hope, they have really struggled to pass, especially out of the defense. My partner on the right back,
I mean,
That was
my partner in the right back is in the first half alone tried to pass the ball to the midfielder and it was intercepted on 3 occasions. So there's that lacking the linkage from defense to midfield, midfield to forward. If when that doesn't work, you could just see them just lobbing the ball to Valo, and that doesn't work either because Valo is not as fast as he used to be. So yeah, I could see Jebel capitalizing on loose passes and winning the game 2-0.
good shout. Next match, Avenues versus Camdonia Chelsea. Very stoppable force versus very movable object. Something has got to give.
Yeah, the 6 pointer basically. Like this is where they say, you need to win games against teams close to you. So like you mentioned, stoppable force means movable object. Who knows what we're gonna see in this game? We haven't seen a 0-0 so far in this tournament,
No,
right?
budget.
So if I were to, be brave, I'd say that this will be the first 0-0 of the tournament. A draw.
I think with the defensive frailty from Avenues, Camdonia might be able to win this game. It might be a comfortable victory even. Because given what they showed, like I said, they really impressed me in the final, especially in the final stages of the game against System 3. Showing some urgency and some willingness to attack, get players forward and really try to force the issue. So I think given the situation, given the stakes, this has to be a game that they look at and say, you understand, this is where we pick up the first 3 points and try to build from there.
Yeah, I agree. 1-0. 1-0 Chelsea. I think all around they seem to have a better squad, better quality. As much as they haven't been finding the net all year in the season, they showed us they can in the last game. But now I want them to show us if they could score from open play. And I believe this is the perfect opportunity for them
do so.
to create chances. And I'm not expecting them to thrash Avenues by any means, but I expect them to at least score that 1 goal and come out with the 3 points.
All right. And the final clash, defending champions Predators versus unbeaten so far, Awesome. Like we said, Awesome has the league's best defense, probably why they are unbeaten on 3 goals conceded. The champions trailing might not have expected to be trailing by this much so soon with some work to do. I mean, it's just 4 points, realistically speaking. No, 3. 3 points between them and the top, realistically. But this is box office. This is
Yeah, this is a game I'm looking forward to seeing after Awesome's performance against Layou. While it might not have been pretty, they showed that they could stifle teams with, star-studded attacks. So it really impressed me the kind of performance that they put on against Layou, and I could see much more of the same with them frustrating Predators and Spring in midfield. I'd also argue that they have more firepower up front than Predators do with Williams and Stra. So I'm going for the upset. I'm going for Awesome to pull it out 2-1.
I think this one would end up in a draw.
2 goals apiece.
2-2.
I don't necessarily think any goals will be scored in this one, though.
Do you think this will be the fourth game?
Yeah,
I think this would be a real battle.
All right. We got
A real battle.
we got it cooking. We got it cooking for Matchweek 5, man. So that's been Matchweek number 4 in the VSPL. Like we said, a lot of action, before we roll out,
Yeah, something I want to touch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as a park goer, as a match goer, right?
Independence Park.
Independence Park, right? Right? I saw the poster for the game as they would usually post them on their social media pages on the day of the match, and they would have the little fee in the top right of the corner that says 5XCD. 5XCD, big and bold, right? So imagine my surprise. Imagine my surprise when I got to park on Friday night, right? Taking out my $5 to pay, only to hear that it is now $10 to go in, right? So while that might not be of much significance, the difference between 5 and 10, right? That's not the problem. The problem is the communication. The problem is the dissemination of information to the public and the fans, the match goers, right? People who are concerned about football and
Supporting the team.
right? You claiming that you want to go semi-professional and you can't tight up on simple things like this. And then next day, you release a statement as if you're so professional.
Sorry for the confusion.
Sorry for the confusion. And that it's not going to be $10 to go in Independence Park and 5 out Brighton. When that's what you should have done before. So what you do first, you do last. Right? And like I said, it's just a minuscule detail. It's nothing major. But it's just another minuscule issue on top of the million minuscule issues. And they add up to make a mountain. On the post, right, that you guys made on social media, I saw someone commented and say, you just lost a fan here. And while that one fan might not mean the world to you, that is symbolic of what other people would be thinking as well. Because those are simple things, simple communication, and we fed up on them kind of thing, bro. Right? It's $5. Like I said, the principle here is not the money. We don't care about $5 being the difference. It's just the communication and how you're dealing with people. Because when we get to the gate, it's like, I shock for his $10 for going your check, so just do better.
Yeah. We need some, we need some consistency.
And the lights still
oh God, you take it from me.
still hard.
I ain't asking for much. Just give me 2 angles. Just give me 2 different angles. Give me the cameraman over the other side to please now.
Yo,
Please.
that probably possible. I ain't sure. A reverse angle, good, nice.
I mean,
Nice.
and one replay. One replay. What, bro? Bro, the instant replay crazy, So if you miss the instant replay, you're
gone. Yeah, rewind.
instantaneous.
I don't. When I am on, most of the games I've been watching,
Give me 2.
it's actually streamed because I came to the park and probably because most times when I'm in the park is shows and them kind of lights, additional lighting and so on. And it's a long time we ain't do the night sweat. So long time me ain't really see what he likes. No, bro, sorry. I try to keep the glasses off of the face no matter how history like the come. Was like I can't make it. If I watch the stream, it's actually better.
Yeah,
it's brighter on the stream.
People complaining about on the stream.
Yeah, it brighter on the stream.
I don't see the light in you're complaining about on the live stream.
No, it brighter on the stream, but in there, especially without the benefit of going up to where we would normally be, with that top view. Oh boy.
Yeah, that's because that's something that Dexter Walker, who is a known, legend in St. Vincent, very vocal about Vincent and football issues on social media. Correct. That's something that he noticed as well, because you're charging people $10 to come in now, and you ain't even allowing full access to the double decker, where is the best viewing potential of the sport itself, and with no explanation, they're saying, okay, the gate locked because we doing refurbishment, we painting. It just locked to the public, and everybody has to stay at this low level where the viewing is horrible, bro. It's horrible.
Especially given
it's horrible, bro.
That's why I've been watching the games on the stream. I find again I'm better deal out there watching on the
Just
stream.
want to watch.
Yeah.
Also,
So yeah, I support what you say. Yeah, let me get another angle. Let me get another angle.
you know that, man, this is sports season for secondary and primary schools around the country, right? And we know oftentimes they use Independence Park for sports as well. So, there would be the athletics track being drawn in between the football pitch. Draw some brighter lights, draw some brighter line for the football pitch. You could
Some
hardly
line,
see
something
the
line.
18-yard box.
Something
You
line.
can't see the penalty spot. You can't see the center pitch. And I didn't park, bro.
I'm trying to be
I
serious.
didn't
I'm
park,
really
but you
trying to be
can't
serious.
see the line and them. You see in the athletic track and them better than you see in the football line, them, bro. And that's crazy. So how you could know if a penalty decision on the line, if the line ain't even did it, and then the penalty, you can't see the penalty spot, you can't see the center circle, the line go through the center circle. It's all a poor viewing. So some good things. The VSPL has been good. Very, very good. But we have to highlight these minor, issues, bro.
The things
Yeah.
that
Just a little
that
upgrade. We know.
accumulate, the things that accumulate to our worst experience. But despite it, we've been enjoying the action. We're looking forward to Matchweek 5. We're looking forward to the games. I like the banter that going on. I like the rivalries that emerging. Let's hope to see it continue. That wraps up our coverage of Matchweek number 4 and our review of the VSPL. Some separation at the top, a bit of pressure on the teams at the bottom, and some serious conversations started today and emerging from on-pitch things and taking us to off the pitch. Giving us a lot of action, and we'll be right here breaking it down as we say. As always, we're giving you the best takes, the best sports, the best players, the best leagues, all right here in one place. So keep rocking with global sports from a Caribbean perspective. One GSCP. Follow, like, comment, share, subscribe, and join our community. Passion meeting purpose, and we'll catch you next time. One GSCP. Global.